You
My
can't
Twitch
put that
channel ain't even
pressure.
monetized no more.
Yeah,
Like people say
yeah.
that, like, yo,
You can't put that pressure on these rappers. You know what I
yeah,
mean? I don't look at them as that special. I
right.
respect them for their hard work, their talents,
Mm-hmm.
but your money is your money.
Yes, sir. Quick little side thing. I just was listening to you. Um, that old school Benz you had or have, I don't know. Man, where you find that at?
I bought that out of a guy out of, I still have it. It's in Durham, North Carolina.
What year is that?
That's a 80, 88, 80.
Ooh.
That's crazy. I don't know. Well, I don't know the year of that car. That's a 80. That's a 93.
Okay.
It just still has the body like the
Yeah.
87. That's a 93 E300 from
Mm-hmm.
Germany. I
Mm-hmm.
have my certificate, and I get a like a what you like a medallion.
Brother, I want to say I
That
saw
car was
all that.
made.
That's why
That
I have
car was
asked.
made in Europe. It was shipped here.
Yeah, I saw
Everything
it. That's like,
original. I put the beads on it. I put the music on it. Then my son asked for it. So my son has it, and I don't got to really deal with it because I used to leave it in New York. And my son has it. I still have
okay.
it. I still have the E300.
Okay.
That's a 1993 E300. Everything original, never been crashed. I'm
Yeah.
about to probably paint it. I have it. I got a couple of them. I got an E350. I got a Porsche Panorama.
I'm
I
just
got a Porsche 911. I got a 335 BM. I got a couple of
oh,
joints. You know,
babe, Deuce up in here. What up, Deuce? Thank you for joining, sir. But
Deuce, what up?
I want to say, brother, I saw that. I saw you posting on it. I'm like, yo, he got this off the boat. Like,
Yeah,
oh shit.
yeah. That's a car that I owe Samuel. Shout out to Samuel. I spoke to him early.
Okay.
Samuel, when I was a kid, about 8, 9 years old, he had the 190, the E190. That was very
Back in
popular.
the '80s.
The E190 and the E300 is the same body. It's just two different engines. So
Okay.
back in the days, everybody say the
Back in the
E190. Yeah,
'80s. Yeah.
everybody rapped about the
Mm-hmm.
E190, posted the E190. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Rakim, everybody, you see him
Mm-hmm.
everywhere. Nas got a nice white one. And I liked it since a kid. Samuel had a brown joint back in the days. You know what I mean? And that was just one of the cars I always liked. So I said, let me snatch that. You know, I like the cars. You know, I'm
Samuel
definitely into the cars.
Samuel's your cousin?
Samuel's my older cousin. I was on the
Okay.
phone with him earlier. You know, he put out the book,
Right.
Making of a Legend. You
Yes, sir.
know, and yeah, Sam doing great. Sam doing great. You know, he got a book called Pain. We still putting some. He did a little short film that I think he still has.
Okay.
Far as on the making of the legend. The book sold and did very well. He still is still selling. It's on digital. It's on soft bag, and yeah, that thing took off. That thing did its thing, man. You know.
Okay. All right. That's wonderful, big brother. I found out you got other cousins and you know your family heritage. You know y'all some serious people. Y'all some serious
Yeah,
gentlemen. You know what I'm
I
saying?
come from a lineage. Hold on one second.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you everybody for joining. We were touching on a bunch of topics earlier. If you ain't catch it, you know, maybe y'all can catch it back from the beginning or something.
Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, I come from a lineage, man. I come from a Harlem lineage, a Southern lineage. My grandma just passed in
Condolences.
2022. She was
Yes, sir.
100 years
Condolences.
old. You know, out of South Carolina, Monk's Corner, you know, all that Charleston, all South Carolina area. And they moved to Harlem, you know, in the 20s and all that. And so we've been in Harlem a long time. You know, my mother, that's who lived to be 100. And my mother had brothers that were popular, you know, inside of Harlem in the 70s into the 80s, you know, like one of my uncles, that's Rich Porter's, that his daughter is my uncle is the
Oh,
godfather, real
word.
godfather, Disney World,
Okay.
take care of, you know, and I speak to one of Rich Porter's his children's mother, you know, so you know, it's definitely family. You know, I have a good family. I have an uncle that just came home, Timbo. He just finished doing 35 years. You know what I'm
My goodness.
saying? And he just came home in like October, something like that. You know, and I had uncles there. They were millionaires from the past. you know, and I learned a lot from them. You know, I learned the good, I learned the bad, I learned the ugly, you know. But yeah, that's true. I mean, I have definitely a good host of strong guys that came out of the Harlem, you know, movement
Yes,
of
sir.
flamboyance.
Okay, you bringing up some of those things. I'm gonna ask you something. I saw you post. I believe I read this properly. Um, Alpo. I guess did I read this right, or maybe I don't know. I don't know if it was your father or someone in your family had dealings with Alpo when you were a younger child, and he used to be in your grandmother's house or something like that.
Yeah, my uncle that just did the 35, they were close, along with my other uncles. But my younger uncle Timbo, they're the same age
Okay.
bracket, so they was cool. You know, of course, everybody's you know, they separated him when he told and all that. But before that, because even me as a younger man, the pole that I seen was the pole before he told. So the pole after he told, of course, is the pole that we see after he tells his story afterwards. But being a young kid, seeing Poe and his theatrics, the bikes, the clothes, the popularity, you know, the aesthetics and the aura of Harlem for a young kid, it was like, man, son really, you know what I mean? He was hip hop, he was rap before I knew what rap really was. I seen it through that level, through
Yeah.
those
He
lenses of guys in the
he what
Benzes
these
and the
niggas rapping
cars.
about.
Right. So the LL Cool J's and the Rakims, that trend, that's Poe, that's Harlem, that's the guys of that point in time, the Rich Porters, the LAs, you know, the doo-wops, guys that were buying these cars at young ages were teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you're talking about teenagers, guys in their early 20s doing what guys, grown men can't do today and then.
Right.
So yeah, I seen him as a kid, you know, with my uncle in the house and stuff like that. I used to gamble on our block on Gerard on 157, you know, and yeah, his name became bigger than a lot of other guys. His name was bigger than his money. You know, because there was plenty of
Because of
guys
his
that had money,
flamboyancy.
but his charisma, his
Mm-hmm.
style, and the way he carried himself was more electric than other guys. It is what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And minus the telling, is he was that example. And then after the telling is the example that the fire is going to
Mm-hmm.
always look alluring.
Mm-hmm.
Things look alluring. The cars, the girls, but we don't. The man did all this time. Everybody in that lifestyle then did lifelong bids.
Right.
You know, we watching the men come home today from that
Yep.
time. The Princes out of South Jamaica,
Yep.
Queens, the Akbar Praise
Mm-hmm.
out of Newark, New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? The Big Meeches,
Grateful
you know what I'm
Evans.
saying? And the list goes on. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? The Tucks are just coming home. You
Yep.
know, and I done spoke to Tuck briefly. I spoke to Poe when he came home briefly. I even told him about the rap stuff, and that was bad, but you know, he can make a change before he died and speak to the
So you
youth.
got to hold on. You
You
got to
know,
speak to him.
I spoke to him and Misa.
Okay.
I sent it to Gully. I sent the video to Gully.
I was about to bring this up. I was about to say, yeah, you called him in the slingshot. He was in the
Yeah, he's in a
slingshot, bro.
slingshot with Misa. You know what I
Okay.
mean? We talked briefly and all that. He told Gully, yeah, I spoke to the youngin. I just, you know, because it wasn't about the rat stuff. It was more about kids my age and kids that was kids in the 80s. We was Darnell Porter and all that age. This that shit corrupted us. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And I don't think none of them did it on purpose. They living their life. We could have
Right.
followed
Right.
basketball players. We could have followed
Mm.
musicians, educators. I was allured by the drug dealer. I was allured by the street guys, and that's what I followed. So, and he was one of the main characters. You know what I'm saying? And to come full circle, it was like that's
What,
crazy. You know
I
what I'm
mean, what did
saying?
can
To
I
see
ask
it
you?
wasn't worth it, huh?
Can I ask you what you specifically told him, if you don't mind sharing?
Um, um, I briefly told him, you know, briefly about my background, far as um, not my family, but general Harlem shit that he had know I know. You know what I'm saying? And then so it was basically what I said. So I was talking to him about his past. Like, yo, you know what you did was crazy. You know what I mean? And he kind of understood that. I wasn't the first thing I said, but I spoke to him about that. Like, yo,
right,
you know what I mean? That was crazy. You know what I mean? The only way he could fix that is by speaking about it and telling the youth. And but it's a story within a story.
right,
Um,
right,
uh, uh, I was basically about that because it's hard to talk to him without mentioning that. Because if he didn't tell, he would be a folk hero. You understand? He'd be someone that you can talk about the whole situation
with,
thoroughly, the ins and
with
outs.
it would have
So
came off as a man with
if
honor,
I
a stand
can't
up
really
guy.
being who I am, being the young man, being the person that I am, I can't really talk to him without that being the subject because
Yeah,
that has to be addressed. You know what I mean? So that was kind of basically what was around. Basically that I understood, you know what I mean, the telling part, but I also understood that that's the past. There's nothing he
right,
can do.
right.
So I was basically just telling him and speaking to him about going forward.
Mm,
You know what I mean? About his impact. I
mm,
mean that the damage is done, but
mm,
his impact can enlighten
mm.
because everybody want to be hardcore street. I'm a gangster. Rats are a part of the story.
Yes, they are.
Understand?
Yes, they are.
Rats are a part of the story. I'm not telling no kid to go on the street. But the rat is a part of the story just as much as the murderer, the
Mm-hmm.
shooter, the robber, the
Mm-hmm.
hustler, the police officer, the betrayal, the woman, the cash, the car, the allure, the lifestyle, the pain, the kidnappings. It's just it's you can't
It's
separate it.
still part
So
of
if
the
you
puzzle.
think you gonna come out your house, young boy, and go and do this street shit, and this is not one of the elements, this is one of the elements.
Yes, it
So
is.
that's what makes his story unique.
Mm-hmm.
It's a story that gives you all the
Mm,
elements because a lot of people
mm.
cannot make it to
Yeah,
that height
yeah,
of hustle. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And a lot of people has never pulled the trigger. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people has never slept with exotic women. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people have never bought extravagant things that cost more than the average American can
Right.
afford. So the lifestyle that he lived was intriguing because we see it today in different avenues.
Mm-hmm.
Entertainers live like these guys
Mm-hmm.
of Harlem.
Yep.
You know what I mean? The
Yep.
basketball players live this way.
Yeah.
You know what I
All the
mean?
custom ass
Of of
clothes and yep.
affluence. You know what I mean? I mean that extravagance is what I was trying to say. So that's the aspect I think more people tap into. Then we can use it as a learning experience also. So this is how I use it. I
Right.
don't use it as yo, he was the man and da da da. He was a player in the game, and these is majority of the elements. And then he died allegedly at 55 in Harlem.
You were right
How he
next to the truck.
died, and
You
the
made it right
story
next
is
to the truck.
really ended. Far as currently, the story is ended. So if we use the 55 years of a young boy coming out of Spanish Harlem,
Mm-hmm.
you know, not having, then accomplishing, then going to prison, then cooperating, you know, and all these steps, that's a full story of the streets. You know what I mean?
Yes, it
And
is.
the street, that street element intertwined with hip hop.
Absolutely.
You understand? So this is the reality. We dealing with reality.
Yeah.
And this is why a lot of these shows can rock. The Joe Buttons, because there's an endless story. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and inside the story of hip hop, there is a fraction that Alpo Martinez affected, and those of the likes affected. And they're still dressing and moving through society and the underworlds with the same type of drive. You know, you have Alpo, you got John Gotti.
Mm-hmm.
John Gotti died in prison.
Mm-hmm.
Pope died in the street.
Yep.
I mean, it's not too many that will retire and say, this is what I used to be.
Yep.
We got Judge Mathis. He was a juvenile criminal. So all these stories are important. but the story of a guy that's coming out the street, turns informant, and does the time and come back is a story we need to talk about. I got a book. I got Samuel book.
Okay, there we go. Yes, sir.
Samuel book right here.
Yes, sir. Making of a Legend.
Yeah, it's Samuel book. You know what I mean? Good book. You know.
Yes, sir.
Definitely
Where
good
can they
book.
find that at?
It's on Amazon. They have it on Amazon. They have the what's it, the digital form.
Yeah,
You
the
have the
Kindle.
softback. You
The
can hit
Kindle.
Sam at OG_Samuel. He's on Instagram, and you can. It's on Amazon. It's online. You can look it up.
Okay. If I put this on YouTube, I'm gonna find a link. Put the link in the description.
Yeah,
in the,
absolutely. Shout out to Samuel. It's a good read. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Now,
Yeah, pictures and all that in there.
okay.
You know, a lot of pictures and stuff. You know.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's a good book. You know, it got me in there. Got the
Word.
aliens
Okay.
and all that stuff.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man.
What inspired him to write that?
To be honest, he'd tell you the same. I kind of came up with the idea.
Okay.
I was at my grandma's, I think, her 98th birthday party. We was in Harlem at Esplanade Gardens, and all my uncles and family was there. And Sam partially raised me. You know, I remember running away from my house at 12 and living with Sam. You know what I mean? And next time I was back home, I was probably 28 years old. You know, I left home from there. My first beeper at 12 years old come from Samuel. You know, and so he had a lot of influence. Sam shot dice and gambled with Alpo. I'm using Alpo to paint that era. You know,
Yeah,
Sam
okay.
was there. Sam had the Benzes. Sam had the Jeeps. Sam was very popular inside of SNS, the Rooftop, Willie's Lounge. That's his godfather, Willie. They had Willie Burgers. They had the Rooftop before Gusto got Rooftop, etc. The different clubs on 44th and bars. Yeah, he's the king of the nightclubs and the nightlife. His name was Willie, Mr. Willie Herring. I don't want to mess up his last name.
Okay.
But so I got a lot of life lessons from Sam. So when I came up with the idea, you had to have these elements because I got uncles and family members that's calmer. They more under the radar. They're not, you know, public and don't care to be public, you know, and has substantial amount of money, you know, and that's just so you need someone that's willing to speak, willing to be honest, willing to be vulnerable if have to. And his story, and you look at like a lot of the family, a lot of the pictures, he was and is, he stands out. And you see a lot of the pictures on Mechapopolis and these different pages, Living Lifestyle 100 used to have, and the Hassans, and these different old school pages.
Yeah. That show the gentleman of the street from like the 70s and 80s and early 90s.
Yeah, you will see his dress code always stood out. You know, he had the big chains, you know, the watches and the clothing. You know, he had all the allure of that day. He was one of the names that you heard. He was one of the millionaires. He was one of the rich guys of that era. You know, Samuel. You know, and so I figured it would work. It didn't have to work. So the first thing I gave him the idea, yo, sorry, I got an idea, man. Let's put these books together. Wasn't even a book. Let's bust this move. Let's go on the internet. Your story is just like everybody else's story. You know what I mean? So those who know gonna know. Because if you can't be a Harlem Night and taking that lane without the people saying yay or nay. The people gotta certify you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Nothing works without the people. You can promote the party, but if the people don't come to the party, where's the show? You know what I mean? You can promote whatever, but the people got to stand. But the people made him a legend. He was one of the last. Still riding big Benzes, still riding Bentleys. Still,
I seen him post some Benz. I said, yo, nigga, what is that?
Yeah, he's been.
What number is this?
He was one of the last guys. Him and Von Zip was probably the last of that era to still put on the show, to still put on the attire, to still drive the big cars. You know what I mean? To have the businesses and the homes, you know, and so I figured it would work. So first we went to I think we went to the beat, 139 the beat first.
Okay.
And Sam spoke. It went viral. It went, you know what I mean? It went overnight. Probably the first day, it probably did 20,000 or something like that.
That's
You
what's
know,
up.
and he tells his stories, the stories with Kevin Childs, and the stories with Alpo, and the stories with the ladies, the stories in the millions of dollars, and the people enjoyed it. So from there, different people started reaching out. So inside of that interview, I said, man, we putting out a book. There was no such thing as a book. And we putting out a book, man. The book would be out in 90 days. But we put the book out in less than 90 days. Because he has a story to tell. So the name of the book is Making of a
Yes,
Legend.
sir.
You know, by Sam Yo, you know, and it's still out there. He has another book he's working on called Pain. And it's sold, and the people, you know, supported it. We did, you know, book runs, book tours. We had the posters. We had different events, you know, and we talking about literacy. We talking about, you know what I mean, something different. Then
Yeah,
everybody want to be tough. Everybody's a gangster. Everybody, you know, there's different elements that make people successful,
absolutely.
you know, and this opens doors. This is
Mm-hmm.
part of the lineage that your grandkids can read. You know, people in prisons, we got them inside the prison system.
Word.
You know,
Okay.
it was a different avenue. You know, and I was proud to see him execute. I gave him the idea, but he executed it far as finding the people that can gather and do the editing, to do the cover, you know, to have it bind it and put together is a process, you know, that costs some thousands of dollars to put a book out,
Yes, sir.
you know, and at the infancy, at the beginning of it, you know, it costs some thousands of dollars, you know, and he made it happen. He got merch. You know, we all into merch. You know, I'm big into merch. If I put my cameras down here, you're gonna see boxes. You're gonna see machines still in boxes. I got machines that's still in boxes. I ain't even open yet.
Man,
You know,
okay.
because I gotta make my own merch when I want to make it. I don't want to wait sometimes.
Yes, sir.
So get into the merch. He got Making of 11 merch. He got leather jackets. He got hoodies, hats, bookmarks. I seen you some things. You know how we rock. You know,
Still got some of y'all merch around here. Hold up. I got my Heart of the Trenches. Trench
all
Baby.
day long, man. That's one of my favorite joints. Trench Baby all day.
Yeah.
Shout out to my boy Dilla. Shout out to my boy Dilla. Shout out to Toya. Shout out to my boy Dilla on 23rd,
What's
3rd Ave and all that.
what's the
So, you
brother from
know,
Harlem? What's his name? Ray Sean?
yeah, my son Dilla. That's Dilla.
Oh, okay. See,
Yeah,
I don't know him like that. Only
Hustler. Yeah, his real name. Yeah, his real name Ray
okay.
Sean. Yeah. That's
Shout
his
out to
name.
him.
I think
No,
on
he
Instagram. But
yeah.
yeah, that's the hustler wear right there, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
No, man. He, you know, we always sending messages back and forth, but we, you know, we interact. We came across each other because of my first interview with you. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that's my
So
brother. Me and him met in Maine. We were Sellies in Maine.
word. Okay.
Drug joint. They had us all in the paper and all, you know what I mean? And that's how we met. We were Sellies. Probably about 10, 11 years ago, we were Sellies out in Maine.
Oh
And we both
wow.
came home, and that's where we at, you know what I mean? So we would trade ideas, go back and forth, and that's something that we created in the cell. And now we out here with merch.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
And y'all was Sellies in Maine, but y'all both from Harlem.
Yeah, we didn't
Wow.
know each other though. We met each other. They transferred us out of one jail called Kennebec. That's in Maine. You know what I mean? Right where Poe was at, we was there
Wow.
before that. Poe was in Lewiston
Okay.
and all that. That's right there. That's Maine. We was in Augusta County, and they had us in Kennebec. They took us out of Kennebec and they took us to a jail called Two Bridges. And when they took us to Two Bridges, I mean, that's when we linked that because we ain't know. I mean, I'm looking at him like, damn, man, what the hell, man? I mean, like, because you want to see black people. You got to understand, Maine is 98% white.
Oh
Vermont
shit.
is 98% white. The whitest part of America is what you call New England, which is Vermont, Maine, New
All the way
Hampshire.
up
That's
to
right above
Canada.
Boston and all that.
Yeah.
That's New England. That's super white. So to see black people, you got, I mean, if you're a black cop or black whatever, you're going to look strange out there because it's highly white. You know, so it's like, man, bro, where you from? Ah. So we go, oh, no, 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 no. You know what I'm saying? Then we see each other in the paper and all that. We go to court together. They made us cellies when we got to the new jail. So we cellies for about 5 months. You know what I mean? So from there we built the barn, and he got the hustle there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Clothing line. You got a bunch of stuff,
I
man. Then
had to open up my
garden
closet. I done cop
utensils.
some joints from him.
Yeah, yeah. We
Yeah.
still we about to put some stuff out. My last thing I did, I put some Vamp Life text on out for Jim.
Okay.
That's the last thing I did. So I'm working on some stuff now. Probably put Trench Baby back out, Loyalty, a couple of things back out. I'll probably do something for Jim. But the last thing I did was I had Vampire Life tech sweatsuits. You know, you see Jim was wearing, you see him on the page, you see him on my page.
Yeah.
That's the last thing I did. And so I'm working on something now. This is why I'm making my rounds. You know, I got some interviews coming up, but I made sure I came here first. You know, I still definitely Cloud Chaser, 139 B.
Okay.
Where else I gotta go? I got a couple of places I gotta go. Shout out to my man Ghost. I made my rounds. I had fun last time. I took a break. Shout out to the dark side. It's dark on that net, man. The net is a different world. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
But I'll
sir.
be back like I never left.
Yes,
You know
sir.
what I mean?
Yes, sir. I only got a few more questions for you, topics, whatever. I heard this, but I don't think I ever heard and I want to say you confirmed this somewhere that it was true. That when Death Row and Bad Boy were having their issues, that I guess people created as the East Coast, West Coast shit. Was Murder Unit going to potentially tell Bad Boy, like, hey, man, we can take care of this for y'all?
This is the tunnel days.
Okay.
This is in the beginning, so it had to be whatever that is, the mid-90s, whatever.
It had to be like 95,
the late
96.
90s. Yeah, around that time. And in these days, the entertainers were in the club with you. You know what I mean? The Puffs, the Busta Rhymes, the Fat Joes, the Ivan Iversons, the ball player. I remember seeing what's the old boy name? Jason Williams.
Okay.
You see all the people is in the regular clubs. It wasn't as separated and as bougie as it is today. You know what I mean? So Puff mix and mingle with you. Puff is gonna be in the club. You know what I'm saying? Yo, Puff in here tonight, Puff behind the bar. So I know he was in there that night, whoever he was with, et cetera, et cetera. So Deuce had, you know what I mean, approached him like, what's up, man? It's just, you know what I mean? Because at that time, anything you did affected where you was from. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So if we from New York and nobody is defending New York, we look crazy. That affects us in the prison system, the federal system, because y'all saw we talking about men in a man's world.
Okay.
So what kind of man you gonna be? So inside this world, you show who you was through violence. You showed who you was through different entities of manhood. So if y'all just letting these people talk, they talk, and you're not defending the talk, you know what I'm saying? Then we gonna look crazy as we. So I can't speak for dudes, but I believe that was more like, yo, we ain't letting these dudes just talk, like, you know what I mean? We New York, we about what we about. So I think that's the avenue. Like, so Deuce was more or less saying, let's handle this death row situation. You know what I mean? Because a lot of dudes that be around these rappers don't be as badass as you think they are.
At all.
They're badass on the block, or they bad in 7-block radius, but it takes a certain level of destruction to get your point across. And you got to be willing to throw it all away. So you do it out of ignorance. You do it out of that's who you are. You do it for different reasons because you're talking about time and age. We see it with the Dirks. Being older, y'all out of your mind. That could have been done a whole different way or not at all. But being a person who comes from the inner city, that comes from the South Bronx, that comes from Harlem, that comes from the inner cities of America, I understand the peer pressure. I understand if you don't do it, somebody gonna do it to you. I understand. But in Dirk's, the sidebar, it's like that was peer pressure. You got way too much money to move that sloppy. And maybe it's out of his hands. You know what I mean? And from my point of view, I think them people took that on without Dirk. even saying yes or no because they're aggressive. Dirk getting money from rap. I'm trying to get out of here. He's starting to wake up. You know what I mean? Let me do something else with my life. And when you at these ages, you know what I mean, like Deuce was at that age, that's all you know. It's about letting your nuts hang. You know what I mean?
Just
And it's
commented
not about money, it's about you not nothing to play with.
He just
You know what I
commented
mean?
and said that was the young ignorant Deuce.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
So, all of us in our late teens, early 20s, like you said, let my nuts hang.
You know,
Real big.
and he was about that. Because you have different characters in the streets. You got guys that all they know how to do is get money.
Yes,
you
sir.
got guys, they're just good looking guys and they get the ladies. You got the dresser, you got the extorter. Then you got guys that become all stars. You know what I mean? LeBron can play multiple positions. Magic Johnson can play multiple positions. Some people can't. So when you got guys that can be smart, aggressive, have strategy, and approach things, how you say it, in a sophisticated manner to get a point across, and it's going to benefit down the line. Some things come different ways. So, and I think that's what separates us from the East from the West Coast. West Coast guys that's our age now, they come from gang banging.
Right.
Guys my age, I mean, in comparison to the West Coast, we had hustlers and we had the mafia. That's why Wack took this Yale all day. Because he comes from that gang banging mentality.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And he's a poor representation of LA. He's about himself. But they come from gang banging. Long history, 60s, 70s, 1960s and 70s of gang banging. We come from the Bumpy Johnsons and the, you know what I mean? The Ronnie Bums and these different people, you know what I mean? But the mob had a big influence in New York.
Right.
So moving in silence is very important.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Of surprise, the you not knowing my next move is very important. So what we see today, these guys gonna let you know everything. At 9 o'clock, I'm gonna kill you on 70th Street and Vernon. And they're gonna do it, and they're gonna tell you that they just did it. And they're gonna expect no one to say nothing or no arrest or no intelligence of law enforcement to know this. So I don't come from that. The element of surprise is what I'm trying to say. I come from the element of surprise. I come from you shouldn't know this. You know what I mean? So this is what I want to say as I go forward.
I had last night with my son.
As I go forward with, you know what I mean, the East Coast, West Coast difference, you know what I mean? And they know New York, we have a big media. Our media is the biggest. Right. All album, that's why everybody's on our media.
Yep.
Because it's New York.
Everybody
got come from New York. That doesn't mean Atlanta's not Atlanta, LA's not LA, Chicago's not Chicago, Miami's not Miami, etc., etc. Baltimore's not Baltimore, DC's not DC. Yes, but we still New York.
Yes, sir.
And inside of being New York, we have our ways. There's just a lot of us. So you're gonna have some cornballs. You're gonna have some men. You're gonna have some people you like or dislike. We big. We've been here. We have a lot of examples. But the people who really represent New York is not on the internet. They're just not those type of characters.